Are you ready for what could be 100 to 200 millimetres of rain hitting Brisbane in the next 72 hours? Because right now, a dangerous combination of factors is lining up across Queensland that forecasters have not seen in weeks. And if you live anywhere between the Sunshine Coast and the New South Wales border, the next 3 days will change everything about your weekend plans. Here is what you need to know in the next 10 minutes. Severe thunderstorms start tomorrow afternoon. Heavy rainfall peaks Friday night through Sunday morning, and a tropical low offshore could deliver another shocking rainfall event by next week. Stay with me, because at the 30-second mark, I am revealing the exact timing for when storms hit your suburb. Right now, as I speak to you, thunderstorms are already developing across Western Queensland. Around Mount Isa, down toward Windora, storm cells are firing up. Within the next 2 hours, these storms will push east toward Charleville, possibly reaching Roma. But this is just the opening act. The main event starts tomorrow, and Brisbane, the Gold Coast and the Sunshine Coast are directly in the firing line. Let me give you the numbers that matter. Tomorrow afternoon, temperatures will soar. Moisture from the Pacific Ocean will surge inland. A surface trough will push from Western Queensland into the east. When these three factors collide, you get what meteorologists call a perfect setup for severe weather. We are talking about storms capable of dropping 50 to 100 millimetres in just hours. Some locations could see 150 millimetres. And here is the twist most people do not know yet. In isolated pockets, particularly around the Somerset Dam area, the Lockyer Valley and the Wivenhoe catchment, rainfall could exceed 250 millimetres. In extreme cases, we might see 350 to 400 millimetres. That is not a forecast. That is a flood warning waiting to happen. But when exactly does this start? Let me break down the timing hour by hour, because this is critical information you need right now. Tonight, overnight hours, thunderstorms will rumble across southwestern Queensland. If you are in Charleville, Roma, Dalby or Chinchilla, expect scattered pulse storms through the night. Lightning will be intense. Localised heavy rain is possible. But these storms will not be organised supercells. Wind shear is too low for that. However, do not let that fool you. Damaging wind gusts are still very much on the table. Tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, conditions will feel deceptively calm across southeast Queensland. It will be warm, it will be humid. Brisbane will wake up to sticky conditions, but the atmosphere is loading up. Moisture is building. The surface trough is advancing. Tomorrow afternoon between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m, this is when things accelerate. Thunderstorms will develop around Toowoomba and Warwick first. The Darling Downs will see action. Then watch what happens next. A southeasterly change will push up from northern New South Wales. This change will clip the ranges inland from Newcastle around Port Macquarie. As it moves north, it will collide with the warm, moist air sitting over southeast Queensland. Tomorrow evening, between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m, this is the danger window for Brisbane and the Gold Coast. Around 10 p.m. tomorrow night, storms will push up from the border ranges. They will move into northeast New South Wales first, then they will surge into southeast Queensland. The Access Convective Forecast Model, which is our most accurate tool for thunderstorm prediction, is showing something very specific here. Multiple cluster storms, not just one thunderstorm system, but multiple convective blobs, as meteorologists call them, moving through the same area at the same time. What does that mean for you? Patchy to widespread heavy rainfall, intense lightning, thunder that will rattle windows, and rainfall rates that could overwhelm stormwater drains in urban areas. The New South Wales-Queensland border will see some of the heaviest activity, but the Wivenhoe catchment, South Burnett, Toowoomba and Warwick areas will also be in the thick of it. Now, here is the critical detail. These thunderstorms are rainmakers. When they hit big. Rainfall will be isolated and sporadic. Your neighbour 2 streets away might get drenched while your backyard stays dry. That is the nature of thunderstorm rainfall. But when one of these cells stalls over your location, you could see 50 millimetres in an hour. That is enough to cause flash flooding in low-lying areas. That is enough to turn roads into rivers. And this is just Thursday. Friday is when the real deluge begins. Friday, all day Friday. Showers and thunderstorms will continue, but the pattern shifts. Instead of isolated severe storms, we transition to more widespread persistent rainfall. This is where the big totals start to accumulate. The forecast models are converging on something very significant here. The European model, the GFS model, the Access model, they are all showing the same thing. Broad scale heavy rain across southeast Queensland from Friday morning through Sunday morning. Brisbane is guaranteed to see 100 millimetres over this period. That is not a maybe. That is locked in. The Gold Coast will also see 100 millimetres minimum. The Sunshine Coast, particularly south of Noosa, around Maroochydore and Caloundra, will see triple-digit rainfall totals approaching 200 millimetres. The Sunshine Coast hinterland could exceed 200 millimetres. The Scenic Rim, depending on how thunderstorms set up on Thursday, could end up with grand totals between 100 and 200 millimetres. Everywhere between Tin Can Bay, Rainbow Beach and Tewantin in the north, down to the New South Wales-Queensland border in the south, is looking at very significant rainfall. But wait, at the 3-minute 20 mark, I promised you the most important information. Here it comes. There is an elevated risk zone that everyone needs to know about. The Lockyer Valley, the Wivenhoe catchment, the Somerset Dam area, inland from Caboolture, the Stanley River Valley, stretching as far north as Gympie, but not quite reaching Gympie itself. In this zone, if convergence zones set up, if slow-moving storms stall, we could see isolated rainfall totals exceeding 250 millimetres. And in worst-case scenarios, 350 to 400 millimetres is possible. That would cause riverine flooding. That would cause significant flash flooding. Catchments can handle a lot of water, and right now most catchments are not at critical levels. But an initial flood watch has already been issued across southeast Queensland. This is your early warning. This is your heads up. If you live in these areas, you need to be prepared. Now, let me tell you something that might surprise you. Despite all this heavy rain coming, some areas will miss out. Thunderstorms by nature are hit and miss, but the overall pattern is robust. Major forecast models are showing very significant agreement. The GFS model, which typically runs at lower resolution, is showing marginally less rainfall, but still substantial amounts. The ICON model, which is often less accurate for events like this, is neck and neck with the European model. In fact, the Access model is slightly more bullish on the Sunshine Coast totals. This kind of model agreement is rare. When models converge like this, confidence goes up dramatically. And here is why this matters so much. Southeast Queensland has been dry. Brisbane needs rain. The Gold Coast needs rain. Dams need replenishment. Gardens are thirsty. But there is a fine line between beneficial rain and problematic rain. 100 millimetres spread over 3 days. Fantastic. 300 millimetres in 12 hours concentrated in one valley. That is a flood emergency. So what should you do right now? First, if you have outdoor furniture, secure it tonight. Tomorrow afternoon, as storms could bring damaging wind gusts. Second, clear your gutters and drains today. You want water to move away from your property, not pool around it. Third, if you live in a flood-prone area, especially in the Lockyer Valley or near the Somerset Dam, make sure you have a plan. Know your evacuation routes. Have supplies ready. Batteries, torches, a battery-powered radio. Fourth, and this is critical, do not drive through flooded roads. Every year people make this mistake. If the road is flooded, turn around. It only takes 60 centimetres of fast-flowing water to sweep a car away. Your life is worth more than saving 10 minutes on a detour. Now, let me tell you about what happens after this weekend, because the story does not end on Sunday. There is a tropical low sitting offshore from the North Queensland coast right now. It is designated Tropical Low 23 uniform. This system has been wobbling around in the Coral Sea for the past couple of days. Initially, meteorologists thought it might strengthen into a tropical cyclone, but wind shear has been unfavourable. The system has weakened substantially over the past 24 hours. However, and this is a big however, this tropical low is not going away. It is expected to meander around in the Coral Sea over the next few days, taking an erratic track. By the weekend, possibly Saturday or Sunday, it will drift south toward the central Queensland coast. And here is where things get very interesting. A monsoon trough is going to strengthen and push much further south than usual. This tropical low will likely merge with or become associated with this monsoon trough. When that happens, We are looking at another significant rainfall event for central and northern Queensland. The areas at risk: Townsville-Mackay, Brisbane, the Pioneer River catchments, the Burdekin region. The European model is already showing very significant rainfall accumulations in this zone. The artificial intelligence forecast models, which have been remarkably accurate lately, are calling for 0.5 metre of rain, 500 millimetres. In some areas, particularly around the lower Burdekin and potentially around Brisbane and the Pioneer River catchments. Let me be clear. These areas are already saturated. They have had above average rainfall recently. They do not need another 500 millimetres. That would be catastrophic. The Burdekin could handle it better than other catchments, but the Pioneer and Brisbane rivers would not cope well with 500 millimetres. This would be nothing short of a disaster for those communities. Now, we are still 5 to 7 days out from this event. Forecast models can change, but the trend has been consistent over the past 48 hours. Every model run is showing increased rainfall potential for central Queensland. The monsoon trough strengthening, the tropical low drifting south, the two systems interacting. When you see that kind of pattern consistency in long-range models, you pay attention. There is also another factor developing that not many people are talking about yet. Increasing moisture is expected to surge through the Cape York Peninsula and eventually into northwestern Queensland. This could bring another 200 to 250 millimetres to areas that absolutely do not need it. The forecast models are suggesting this could happen later next week, around the 20th of February onward. This trend has been pretty solid over the last couple of days. So Queensland is entering a very turbulent period. Multiple rainfall events, multiple severe weather threats. Over the next 10 to 14 days, we are going to see a lot of rain across large parts of the state. What does this mean for you practically? If you are in Brisbane, the Gold Coast or the Sunshine Coast, your weekend is going to be wet, very wet. Outdoor events, reschedule them or move them indoors. Sporting fixtures, expect cancellations. Beach plans, probably not a great idea with thunderstorms around. If you are a farmer or grazier in southeast Queensland, this rain is desperately needed. But be mindful of erosion. Heavy rainfall can wash away topsoil, especially on sloping land. Make sure water has somewhere to go. If you are in central or northern Queensland, start watching forecasts closely from Friday onward. By Saturday or Sunday, we will have much better clarity on where that tropical low is heading and what kind of rainfall totals to expect. And here is something I want you to do right now. Comment below with where you live in Australia. Tell me your city, your suburb, your region. I am tracking this system closely and I can give you specific updates for your area. The more specific you are, the better information I can provide. Are you in Ipswich? Say so. Are you on the Sunshine Coast hinterland? Let me know. Are you in Townsville or Mackay? Drop a comment. This is a community effort. We all benefit when we share information and look out for each other. Now, let me give you the exact timeline one more time because repetition is key when it comes to emergency weather information. Tonight, Wednesday night into Thursday morning, expect thunderstorms across Western Queensland. Charleville, Roma, Dalby, Chinchilla, you are in the zone. Lightning, localised heavy rain, possible damaging gusts. Thursday afternoon, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m, storms develop around Toowoomba and Warwick. The Darling Downs sees action. Thursday evening, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m, the danger window for southeast Queensland. Storms push up from the border. Brisbane and Gold Coast will see activity from around 10 p.m. onward through the night. Friday all day through Sunday morning, widespread showers and thunderstorms. This is when the bulk of the rain falls. 100 to 200 millimetres for most of southeast Queensland. Isolated higher totals in the Lockyer Valley, Wivenhoe catchment and Somerset Dam areas. Sunday afternoon, conditions start to ease across the southeast, but by this time, attention will be shifting north to that tropical low and the potential for heavy rain around Townsville-Mackay and the Central Coast. Here is what you need to remember. This is not hype. This is not fear-mongering. This is a genuine, significant weather event. Multiple forecast models are in agreement. The Bureau of Meteorology has issued flood watches. The atmospheric ingredients are all present. Warm temperatures, high moisture levels, a surface trough, a southeasterly change, convergence zones. These are the building blocks of heavy rain events in southeast Queensland. But knowledge is power. When you know what is coming, when you know the timing, when you know the risks, you can prepare. You can make smart decisions. You can keep yourself and your family safe. So take action today. Secure loose items, clear drains, check your emergency supplies, know your flood risk, have a plan, and stay informed. Weather can change quickly. What looks certain today might shift by tomorrow. That is why you need to keep watching updates. And here is what is coming next. Tomorrow, I will have a detailed update on how Thursday-esque storms are developing in real time. Friday, I will be tracking rainfall totals as they come in and updating the forecast for the weekend. Saturday and Sunday, we will be watching that tropical low closely and providing specific guidance for central and northern Queensland. This is unfolding weather history. Queensland is about to see one of the most significant multi-day rainfall events of the year so far. Some areas desperately need this rain. Other areas are at risk of too much rain too quickly. The next 72 hours will be critical. Comment below with your location right now. Let me know where you are watching from and make sure you are following for updates because this situation is evolving hour by hour. The safety of your family depends on good information, and I am committed to providing you with the most accurate, most detailed, most timely weather forecasts available. Stay safe out there, Australia. The next few days are going to be intense, but we will